This could all go horribly wrong at any minute.
And the rubber chicken says, it seems to me that the world should be a whole lot more worried than they are about that nuclear reactor in the Ukraine. But what do I know? I'm just a rubber chicken. Yes, you are a very wise bird, I will say. And I completely agree with you. I do. I think, though, that the UN is going to be there. No, please, look, we agree. And so if the UN comes in, they just might, I know they may screw things up. They always do at time to time. But that's not a... Look, we have no time for this right now. I have got to get on, my friend, with Rantcast number 96, Lewis Black's Rantcast number 96, entitled Redacted. That's right, it's the word of the week. Word of last week, it's the repeated word until we get on to whatever the next thing is, because everything seems to be a metaphor, and redaction is a good one, isn't it? We redacted the pandemic. Redacted. It redacted the time from our lives. It redacted it created a space between us. It redacted the intimacy that we had. It went burp, and there was no, all of a sudden there was a black line there rather than, oh, what are you saying? I can't hear you because I'm on Zoom and what's happening? It's not working, which is what happened the other day, folks. Talk about redacted. The reason I'm here now, it's on my birthday, no less. I'm sitting here with you. And the other day, I sat down to get this done early because my birthday was coming. I wanted to celebrate or whatever it is that I do on my birthday, which is try to avoid the fact that it's a mortality festival. I thought a good 25 minutes. I thought I really kind of nailed it. Sometimes it's tough to get it the first time out of the box. I usually do it 2 or 3 times. But that felt really good about it, and I went to take a look at it, and it was nary a sound. That's right, no audio, just me sitting there going. Good facial expressions. I really thought maybe I should just send that out, and as kind of my birthday gift to you all is me just sitting there, so you didn't have to listen to me. What a delight for all of you. And I was so pissed, so fucking pissed. And I've just been working on this now. This could blow up at any second because it's been going error, error, error. So I keep trying to get back and repeat it. And so hopefully this will work. But it's redacted. Let's hope it doesn't redact. Let's hope that the metaphor stops here and I can get this done. There's been a redaction of we watched it in the Constitution recently. They've redacted the Second Amendment has been redacted to take out the thing about a militia. Basically, it's been redacted to a belief that what the Second Amendment means is you really need a big, big blunderbuss of a gun in your house because the feds are going to come there and they're going to take back your guns. That's what they're coming for. Those federales, they're going to come to your door at any time, and you better be ready with a heavy fucking, maybe a howitzer if necessary, because that's what we took all of that kind of, we just have redacted the Constitution in terms of voting rights to boot too, huh? Yes, sirree. Let's not make it easy for folks to do it. Let's put in stumbling blocks, all right? Let's take away the bottom line, which is everybody should be able to vote, and make it simple, and instead redact it to go fuck yourself. I don't know if redacted works as a metaphor, but it sure seemed like it did. The pandemic redacted a whole portion of my memory. And I'll sit here from time to time, and you watch me do it, stumbling to try to find a fucking word that used to come like that. It's unbelievable. And so we hear that word every day, and I don't think it helps to hear the word redacted because it takes away something. That's what redacted does. Crosses out a line, and he's going to find out what's in it. They're going to get a special prosecutor, a special master, not a prosecutor, special master, a masturbator. Come in and take a look, and they'll be able to see what's in there. He was already watching them. He knows what's in there. Why didn't he just tell his lawyers what's in there? But they got to get out this information. What information? Well, it's just let the process go. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, to be doing this on my birthday, a lot of you say, well, you're crazy. How come you're not celebrating? Well, first off, it's 136 degrees outside today. But it's not the heat, it's the humidity. We discussed that before, but it is. It's a bit of a hot one. And besides, I have some plans coming up, and it's not like I'm losing out. And I really wanted to get this done well. And hopefully this one is better than the last one I did. I think it will be. Birthdays have never been big to me. Partly because you have a birthday on August 30th. It's a right butt end against Labor Day's coming, and then you got to go back to school, and that's where we are right now. You cannot escape it. You cannot. Yet every time I've said this time and again in my act, I don't care how old I get. As soon as I hear Labor Day, I feel like I've got to get ready for school, and I don't have the right pencils. I don't have the number 2 Everhard Faber with that little eraser tip. But you don't really need it anymore because we type till, that's what we're doing now. No need for cursive. No need to learn that. Even though, and it turns out that people can't read, and I'm just going on right now, but it turns out that it'd be nice if they taught cursive because it turns out that people can't read it. A lot of people have no idea because they don't learn it anymore. Apparently those under the age of 25. Just birthdays were never a big thing in my family. Just never a big thing. I don't know why. We weren't like some sort of, religious nuts. Right? You don't want to be a happy group of people. You don't want to celebrate. You don't want to have too much joy in your life. It wasn't that. I don't know what it was. But we just never put the time and the energy. When we were young, we had those parties, but it was mostly, we go to a dinner, maybe family dinner, and celebrate, but it was always very small and nothing big. A few good ones when we were younger that I don't really remember anymore. I remember going to others who had bigger ones than I did and got more gifts. And that would have helped. Maybe I'd feel a little better today about things. Maybe I'd be more of an optimist if I'd had more presence as a kid, or if I were more present as a child. But we're rattling along today, and I just a happy birthday song. Boy, that never really tripped my trigger either. And blowing out the candles and all of it. But I do like the cake, and I've probably been eating a little too much of that. I will be eating a little too much of that. And it's really amazing that we're going to be in this. The one thing I just wanted to get across today too is that these people who are enraged by the National Archives, demanding these papers back, and that there might be violence against them, and I love that there might be violence. We keep going. Everything is conjecture. There could be violence. These people could just snap. You saw what happened on January 6th. You better watch out. You better not cry. Here they come. You're all going to die. It's unbelievable. And but those folks who were so enraged by the National Archives demanding what they're allowed to demand, these presidential papers, and all of the papers that really are under their purview. There's a word, huh? All of them. That these folks probably didn't even know there was a National Archives. They're probably stunned. What do you mean what do you mean they got to collect the papers? Why? How come they have to have those? Well, some of them are classified, jackass. Okay? So we got to know what's there. But what papers did you, how come, I thought the presidents, that's why they have those libraries. What else could they be thinking? I'm sure they didn't know. I'm sure a lot of them had no idea that we have a National Archives. Or that the FBI, you can't, this thing about everything, the Justice Department's politicized. The FBI is politicized. No, they're not. They're not, okay? These people, they're people who are Republican, they're people who are Democrat, they're people who don't give a fuck, who are just there because the public service means a great deal to them, okay? I lived in Washington. I've repeated again 1,000 times. The folks who live there were thrilled to have a job, and a lot of them were thrilled to be public servants, and the others were just wanted to clock in and go home, like a lot of Americans do with a lot of the jobs that people have, because there's no joy to it. There's nothing that they get out of it, and some of those government jobs are like that. But the ones that the ones that really matter, the ones that are a calling, the folks don't bring their politics to bear. Okay, it's the people outside who kind of sit there and go, "That's what their people are up to." They're not in the office. Okay, they're not there with them. It's ridiculous. It's bullshit. But I'm slowing down here, and I really came in with a burst of energy there at the beginning, huh? But I'm trying to be thoughtful. I'd like to be thoughtful today. I wish I had wonderful birthday thoughts, and I could look back for you and say, "This is what I've seen." I'm up here, and I climbed up here this far, and looked down and go, "Boy, oh boy, look at what I see." But a lot of what I see has been redacted, even though I've had cataract surgery. Oh boy! And then the fact that the Republicans are hanging in with it. And it's a chunk of them. How many of them? Okay, how many of them? How many court cases does it take? He's got like 6 or 8. What is it? At what point do you think, man, maybe there's a reason for these court cases? All right, it's what he does. He's been doing it for years. Go to court. I'm just going to keep us in court. I'll just keep us in court. I'll just keep us in court. And that's what he's been doing until they catch him, which they just might at some point. But he's the president. He's a former president. So that makes it a kind of a get out of jail free card. We don't want to set up that thing that we had a president who was out of control like that. I mean, said it last week. It's or a week before, why they should have maybe thought about putting Nixon in jail, or at least giving him a little time, maybe 2 weeks, just to establish a precedent. And if he's not guilty, then he's not guilty. We'll see. But 6 cases, one wonders, calling up and asking when you call up and say, "I'm just looking for 11,376 votes," the exact number, it seems to me that would lead one to the conclusion that maybe he was up to something. Okay? Maybe he was trying to influence them with his presidency. And then what's his name responds, the Ghost of Christmas Past, who's now up to 45%, and the Democrats are all excited to pee in their pants. 45%, that means 55% don't like it. Got it? It's stop it, okay? It's ludicrous if you're excited over 45%. He's calling the folks on the Make America Great Again folks, he's saying they're semi-fascist, which means what? What's a semi-fascist? Huh? What's the definition of a semi-fascist? That they're only taking away some rights, that they're only going to be upset about some people. They're not going to be upset about all the races. What is a semi-fascist? It's like half and half, 1% milk. What is it? A semi-fascist. I've never, why would you? Or I shouldn't have said anything like that. Well, nobody should be saying the kind of shit that they've been spewing now for the last 4 or 5 years, okay? Can't say that Mexicans, these rapists, they're coming out here, they're criminals. Yeah, that's fine. But the semi-fascist thing is too much. Stop it, okay? Both sides, zip it. All right? Get back to some goddamn decency, normalcy, etiquette, edifying, kid. There are books written on it. Take a look at them. God damn it. Semi-fascist. They've redacted it. It's redacted fascism. I'm going to try to make this thing work, but I'm never going to get there. I'm not going to get there. Even on my birthday. I'm not going to be able to blow out that candle. But there is good news. One more piece of bad news. in terms of there was I'm watching the TV. A Louisiana woman was needed to get an abortion. Can't get it in Louisiana. Nope, we're against all abortions. Doesn't matter. Life of the mother does nothing matters. No abortions in Louisiana. So the doctor had found out that the baby she was carrying had a condition in which the brain is not fully developed. So if the baby is born, the baby almost dies immediately or within a few weeks. I'm not sure what the precise timetable is, but essentially she's going to bring a baby that dies to term and quickly. You're basically birthing a dead baby, okay? A baby with a death sentence. Wow. And she's supposed to do that? And she's not supposed to have the choice. Now she can't. She's got to leave the state to get the abortion because she only has this much of a time frame to do it in. Because the state didn't put that into their the logic of their you can't do that boy that we got to let the fetus come to terms because they're really a person. That's their whole new thing. So if she did birth someone who was a dead person at that point, would that I guess that person, that dead person, would be one of those people who voted for the Democrats as opposed to who knows. Oh my God, I've gone too far. I've stepped over the line there, even on my birthday, and I've got to stop talking about that. But the good news, and let's get on to it. The truly good news is that we're going to the moon. We're giving it a shot. They weren't able to get it off. It's the first of the first one. This Artemis is going up there. That's the number one, and then they'll follow up with number 2 and number 3, and eventually we will send someone back to the moon. And that, I think, makes a huge difference. People have been saying there's been some response to this, to the Rantcast, that there doesn't offer a lot of hope, but we're not living in the best of times for that. But I will find as I go along. I wanted to bring more humor to this, but as you know, without an audience, all you can do is listen to me trying to stumble toward the punchline. And without you there, I can't find it. But I do know the kids who are watching that Artemis go up and watch as NASA tries to get us back to the moon. And if we get there successfully, it will make a huge difference. It made a huge difference for my generation. I'll never forget sitting with Rick Redke and watching at his folks' house. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Unbelievable camera focused on the planet Earth. I think that had a profound effect on my generation. Huge. I think that we saw that we were all in this together. We had that moment. And I think it made a huge difference at the way we looked at the world. And we tried to have a vision and we couldn't carry it out. But it gave us a spark. And it certainly helped bring a number of folks into believing in science and following science as a career and moving into it and the importance of science, all of that. And I think that's what it will do for the children of today who've been completely fucked during this pandemic and are now truly rattled in the way things are going. And to the point where they actually, let me digress for a second here, but they're bringing corporal punishment back in some schools. Some school, I didn't even know that there are places in the United States this is already occurring, but a small town in Missouri is bringing it back, at a time in which, no, you don't do this. These kids have gone through enough, okay? You should get a better TV set so that they can watch what happens when we make this attempt to get to the moon. Hopefully it's not a Sally Ride moment, but by God, let's hope that it's certainly better than spanking kids. I just don't believe that the school has the right to do it. I think that's the responsibility of the parent. I don't think the school and the teachers who've also had their own troubles and their own problems. And then you put that mix together with whatever depression and anxiety and, and their sense of kind of maybe hopelessness at times. I don't think I'm sure that there are a number of teachers, probably 90% of those teachers out there in Missouri, kind of in that town, you're going, no, fuck this, no, I don't want this responsibility. And the ones who are excited about it scare me. The ones who think this is good scare me. Okay? That's a parental responsibility. They're the ones who know their children. They're the ones who understand what the kid has been through. You don't. The teacher can only know so much. And the kid shouldn't be put at the mercy of whatever the problems that the teacher brings to the school that day. And that's all I got to say about it. But if those kids get to watch the moon shot, and it happens and it's successful, it's a life changer. It is. It's like giving them a drug. Just like the computer was in its own sense a drug. It increased our nervous system, really, an extension of it. But that's really a drug. You open that world up. You tell that you allow those kids to believe again, to have hope again, to dream again, to have a bigger vision than just what's across their backyard or across the street or, in that classroom. It allows them to really, it opens the universe. And when that universe is open to them, then you have the possibility of a generation that can't be stopped from making the world a better place. And that's why I think it's hopeful. Before I go, I got just to remind you that we've had a big week. We also good news for many, bad news for some. That people got upset about it, but that they the grants, the student loans are being forgiven. Whether this goes to court, I'm not sure. $10,000 for many, 20,000 for others. Many people, it will actually erase their debt. Others, it will help. And in many ways, this is absolutely great for those folks. Then there are other folks who go, fuck them, man. I had to work really hard, and I did this, and I did that. And other folks who didn't do it because they didn't want to get into it. Well, for the folks who did do it, who did it and paid it back and took the 2 or 3 jobs, my belief is, in order for this thing to have worked, they really needed to also give them the 10,000 or the 20,000, because I think that would have made a big difference. And does it mean there's going to be inflation? I don't fucking know. And I need some people out there doing the math. Okay, that's the news I need. I don't need conjecture anymore. I don't need redaction. I need numbers and Deuteronomy. I need numbers. I need numbers written out. Let me know. Let me know why this is a horrible thing, but allowing folks to write off a jet, 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 which is what the wealthy in this country were allowed when they decided that, boy, they were paying too much in taxes, and they gave them a tax cut. And unbelievable. And that doesn't cause inflation. No, that doesn't screw things up in some fashion or another. That leaves people behind, is what it does. Okay? The reason I believe the rich have to pay pay the taxes is because of the freedom that they are given by being here. Okay? No other country gives this type of freedom. No other country makes it possible to dream those kind of dreams that we dream, in order to create to be able to create businesses that make massive amounts of money. And sometimes you just have to say to that person, well, If you want the jet, you're going to have to pay a little money for that. You don't get a tax write-off, not immediately. So I just think we got to figure that out. I think that we need to really take a good look at that. You know, how does it work? How do we find a balance? How do we make it possible for everyone to be able to really work on a more level playing field? You know, that'd be nice. But I think that sharing that, allowing those folks who were, you know, they gave the farmers money. We had PPE going to people. We something that we do, and we just need to figure out what's the best way to do it. And the best way to do it isn't to punish everybody. Okay, all right. I know that when I had a student loan debt, I will tell you that it was a 2% or 3% loan, and the folks at Yale had a thing called the tuition postponement option when I went to drama school. And they did this thing, and they're going to postpone my thing, and then I would pay out of whatever I paid in taxes. I would pay a percentage of it, and I didn't make any money. And I sat there and I signed the paper from and said, "Look, you realize I'm going to be a playwright. I don't know how you expect to get this money back. How are you going to get it? I'm writing plays. This ain't a moneymaker, guys. So it's going to be a while." And then I realized when I tried to pay just the money back, not what you send us your taxes. I didn't pay anything in taxes. Well, you better send us your taxes. I said, and then I had this fight with them. I'm going to give you the money that I borrowed, and it was like 10 years down the road. So, but no, you can't. And it was at that point in time I realized they didn't care about the money that I was going to try to give them back, because they were using me as a write-off. Oh, see what he did? He fucked us, you know. So we're going to be able to use this against our sheet here of facts and figures, and we're going to be able to turn that into some money for us. I was a write-off, just like a big jet, the big playwright. Well, interesting that the $10,000 is the number, because amid rising threats of violence, members of Congress are being given $10,000 each. I missed this, to upgrade their home security. $10,000 apiece, just like the ones with the student loans. And that, of course, wouldn't be something that would cause there to be a inflation to occur, because it's only a few people, I guess. But I love the fact that it's $10,000. I guess because the folks in Congress can't afford it, and you don't think that something is wrong, you know, and that it doesn't need to be fixed. That's where we are. That everyone in Congress has to worry about violence against them. It's unbelievable. Just how is, you know, and then hopefully let us hope that what we get out of this student loan thing is we start to tell these colleges, no, we're not going to turn you were making it hand over. You became moneymakers, guys. You've got endowments that are staggering. The University of North Carolina has a staggering one where I went to school now, and it's great, but you can't then turn around and try to take it out of the system, and we have to stop lenders who are lending money at exorbitant rates, at kind of mafioso rates. Okay, there's no reason that you can't give a kid a loan and say, just pay me the money back, without adding on and on and on and on. Okay, we have to figure out how to make that education viable again. Sure was when I was young, and that was the way it was. And I still had a great education. Money doesn't make an education; it's the people who teach. But that's it from here. And I hope this was better than the one I'm not going to use, or I hope the one that I am going to use is better than this. I hope that my birthday wish is that you all have a great year. That's what I wish. Then I blow out those candles. I'm not going to even blow them out. Can't even put that many on the cake. The cake could be too big. So I'm wishing you all the best. a year that's a knockout, a year that finally turns around for all of you, and that has hope and joy and love, and that we finally come out of this idiocy that we've been living through and grow up and become as great as I know that we can be. Okay? I want to thank everybody for sending in and continuing to send in those rants, and I think that you're going to enjoy the ones you're going to hear this week. Some of them are depressing, some of them are funny, but they're all written from the heart, and and I'm lucky enough to be the guy who reads them. Thanks again, and take care of each other. And happy Labor Day.
Today's episode is sponsored by PayPal Honey, something that can help us all when it comes time to check out from our online purchases. Honey makes manually searching for coupon codes a thing of the past because it's a free shopping tool that searches the internet for promo codes that can be applied to your cart before you check out. They work with over 30,000 stores online in all different kinds of things. Things for your home, clothes, tech products, and now even food delivery. You use it in the easiest way possible. Shop on your favorite sites like you'd usually do, and when it comes time to check out, the Honey button drops down and you click Apply Coupons. Honey does a quick search for the coupons, and if it finds one, it applies it to your order and you are done. Prices drop and you save money. Honey is now also available on your iPhone. Just enable it on your Safari browser and you can save on the go. I've been buying neti pot salts for years. We won't discuss why, but I will tell you, once I got Honey, literally the button dropped, it said apply coupons, I did, and I saved money. Yes, I did. Easy peasy. Words I've never used, easy peasy, but that's what it was. If you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out. It's literally free and installs in a few seconds, and by getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid and supporting this podcast. I'd never recommend something I don't use. Get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/Lewis. That's joinhoney.com/Lewis.
A rant that's never too late. So don't worry about it, Bonnie. Bonnie Summity sent this in, and I thank her for it. Dear Lewis, this rant may be outdated by the time you read it. No, it won't. As it seems clear that the Supremes will soon notice that it's time for them to legislate better ways to educate our children. Yes, things are bad enough for teachers these days, thanks to 3 decades of GOP fuckery. But my rant is not about the obvious enemies of learning. No, I'm talking about the masochistic Trojan horse asshole teachers who actually embrace the sick myth of the noble teacher who works 12 hours a day for shitty pay because it's all about the children. We continually are bombarded with disgusting images of teachers who pay for their own supplies and take 4 hours of corrections home every night, as if this is what sainted educators are expected to do. The worst one is that pathetic homage. I was driving by the school late at night and saw lights in the classroom, and I was touched by the spirit of the all-American teacher who will sacrifice anything, including a home life, for the sake of the kids. Fuck that shit. This is now what everyone expects of teachers as normal, and any teacher who complains is immediately cast as a child-hating monster. However, the worst ones are the 30-year veteran teachers who embrace this crap and vie for the title of Saint Martyr. They lay it on thick with new interns, bragging about how many hours they put in after school and how much medication they take for their 2 a.m. panic attacks. It's the Stockhausen syndrome on steroids. I once taught history at a high school in California. 3 weeks into the year, we were informed that it was time for teachers to pick the group of students we would be mentoring in our spare time after school. And needless to say, I didn't volunteer for this insanity and wondered how they could expect it of us. The worst part were those veteran teachers who guilt-tripped us for not volunteering. End of story. 2 weeks later, at a big staff meeting, they informed us that
Due to budget cuts, our high school of 5,000 students would cut its counseling staff from 6 to 2. Need I say more? Yes, if we Americans keep bending over saying, "Thank you, sir, may I have another?" then we deserve the horror show that will be American education in 10 years. Oh, okay, Bonnie, you let it rip. Never too late. Nope, never too late. I have a close friend who worked in education, high school, for a number of years. He, toward the end, would yell about some of the newer teachers coming in who literally who just did the bare minimum. I don't think that's what you're talking about. Um, you know, and it really is incredible. Look, my feelings, I've said it time and again, and should there be, we don't even have, but it's what I'll be screaming about in the next, maybe in this Rantcast or the next, about we don't have enough teachers now, let alone there should be people that are being brought into the system who are kind of assistants and stuff, who might be able to work 2 or 3 hours a day in order to help so that our children are educated. But then again, there are people who don't want to get the right books for the kids because they'll get upset if they hear about how bad we were at one time, and then they will take it. Shut up, Louis. This is you know what I mean. Bonnie, thanks. And I hope you're still teaching. I do hope that. We need all the teachers we can get. Kirk Coughlin is sharing some important information. It's one of the great mysteries of life, and he's done it. He's giving it a shot. He's trying to clear it up. I'm not sure he has, but it certainly it sheds light on the question and the answer to the question. Kirk Coughlin, thank you for sending this on. Dear Louis, I believe I have figured out why Wisconsinites go through so much brandy during the holiday season. I've lived here for more than 20 years now, and I'm just figuring it out. Folks that are native to the state have to instinctively know this from birth, but now, after 20 years, I have adjusted. Whenever someone gushes about how excited they are for its return, or they are near orgasm describing how good it is whilst consuming their quad long shot grande in a venti cup half calf salted caramel mocha latte with pumpkin spice. Instead, we have a brandy old fashioned. Come to think of it, that's probably why we don't remember much between Thanksgiving and Christmas every year. Cheers. Cheers to you, Kirk. I had heard, oh God, a long time back, and I've shared it, I think, I'm sure I shared it during my comedy, one of my CDs when talking about drinking in Wisconsin, that during that you guys drink in the course of a year more brandy than was drunk during all of World War II. That's what I heard, and I believe it, having spent too much time in your state. And thanks for sharing that with us, Kurt. And those of you in Wisconsin, if you want to add to, the enlightenment that Kirk is trying to give us, please do. That's why I'm here. I always like to know what it was that made you Wisconsiners, boy, grab for that brandy old fashioned so many times. This comes to us from Patrick Soden. And for those of you who are having difficult with this, ruling on that the Supreme Court had, and if, whatever side you're on, if it traumatizes you to hear about it, you don't want to listen to this. But you should. Well put here, Patrick. I think the recent SCOTUS ruling about abortion is very dangerous. I think it's absurd that the same Republicans who think that government shouldn't be allowed to tell businesses not to poison our air think government should be allowed to control every aspect of our private lives. I don't know how to fix this problem, but clearly the first step is to vote Republicans out of office at the state and federal level. I'm sure you are aware that historically voter turnout is very low among young people. It's hard to get youths to care about the same things the rest of us care about. But if there's one thing young people actually care about, it is sex. I think it would be a good idea for the Democrats to hire a bunch of social media influencers to make voting age high schoolers aware that Republicans want to outlaw sex. Unfortunately, that's only a slight exaggeration. It is bad enough that they already made it possible for Republican controlled states to ban abortion, but they have no intention of stopping there because the anti abortion ruling says that Americans don't have a constitutional right to privacy. Clarence Thomas said there was a bunch of other stuff he wants to ban from our private lives. He basically said he wants to give states the power to ban contraceptives and sodomy. When people hear sodomy, they usually think of homosexuality. But the way anti sodomy laws are written, they basically ban anything except PIV sex. So they want to ban oral sex and anal sex, even on your birthday. And the Republicans don't even want you to be able to use contraceptives when having PIV sex, even if you don't enjoy using condoms or birth control pills. How do you like the idea of the government saying you can't use them? Basically, if the average American family has 2.5 children, the religious fanatics in the Republican Party want to make it illegal to have any kind of sex more than 2.5 times in your entire life. This is the message that needs to be communicated to the young first-time voters. If you're living in a state that bans abortion and contraceptives, that would have to change the decision-making about who to have sex with. Imagine meeting a guy at a party and thinking he's cute, but is he 9 months pregnancy cute? Or how about meeting a cheerleader and thinking she's hot, but do I want her to be the mother of my children? How can I think about putting a kid through college when I'm still in college now? Imagine having to pick a college based on whether or not it is located in a state where you can legally get laid. Furthermore, if the Republicans don't believe we have a right to privacy, then what's to stop them from going even further? What's to stop them from making it illegal to watch porn on our private computers and smartphones? Imagine living or going to college in a state where you're not allowed to have sex or even watch sex. I really think that getting this message out to voting age high school students will increase voter turnout. Well, an interesting way to put it, Patrick. Get your pamphlet out there. Stand in front of that. Pass those out when the kids come out of high school. Wow. It's an interesting take on things. People say, well, you're not going to do that. Well, you never know. Certainly, we've taken the first steps down that road. We certainly have. We've allowed religion to creep into the rulings of the Supreme Court. Yes, we have. It's supposed to be a separation of church and state. That's supposed to be the deal. Not when it comes to our sexual organs. No. God governs those. Peter Hobday has given me this tale to share with you. Hi, Lewis. I'm a 64-year-old registered nurse who came to the USA from England in 1989. Recently, I decided I had enough and retired so that I could stay home and not have to deal with any more human beings. With the changes in healthcare, nurses are spending more time avoiding a lawsuit, reducing the time you can actually spend with the patient. Family members who look up conditions on Google to become instant fucking experts so they can tell us what we should be doing differently. The trauma of going to work every day during the pandemic, wondering if you will become infected and wipe out your entire family. But that's not my rant. In fact, it's more of a story. Yes, it is. It's some story. Hang on to your hats, folks. Over the year, friends and acquaintances have asked me about nursing. One question in particular is commonly asked. In 45 years, what was your worst experience? Easy. It was around the year 1990, and I was working in the ICU on the night shift. My hospital had recruited many nurses from the UK, and that night I was working with a nurse from Manchester, England. We always tried to help each other with our various tasks, so it wasn't unusual when she came to me to help. Her patient had peacefully passed away, and she wanted help to do the last offices. We gathered all the supplies and entered the room, and immediately I could see why she needed my help. The patient was very large. Now, luckily, I was a 30-year-old stud with a tanned, rippling, muscular body. I somewhat resembled a Greek god, so no big deal. We lovingly and respectfully washed the poor lady. We were doing a fine job making her look good. Then it became time to wash her back. I had a technique when it came to rolling large patients in the bed. The term dead weight was created for a reason. I crouched so that my shoulders were level with the mattress, placed my shoulder and upper arm on the rather substantial left buttocks, and gave a big push. Then it happened. Unfortunately, the lifting of the buttock removed any muscular tone she had left around her sphincter. A very loud, long, forceful fart was ejected from the port of exit faster than Ted Cruz from a gun control debate. It was 1990. I had a fucking mullet. The force of the fart flew across my face, up my nose, in my mouth, and blew back the mullet like a hairdryer. For a split second, I must have looked like a Labrador with their face out of a car window doing 80 miles per hour on a freeway. I instinctively dropped the buttock, turned around toward the window, gagging and retching. Imagine the molecules of gas and air that had been wrapped up in a dead scrotum for a few hours and then released like a TV evangelist from a brothel. What made it worse was the hysterical laughter from the nurse from Manchester. There are nurses out there who are blessed with an empathetic nature, but not this fucking cow. I'm sure many nurses can send you equally bad experiences, but this was mine. And then there are some stupid fuckers out there who refuse to wear a mask because it's uncomfortable. Fuck them all. But most of all, fuck the person who created the mullet. Wow, Peter. And back to the mullet. I don't know. That gas coming at 80 miles an hour. Wow. Whew. You're lucky you lived to tell about it. From Sandra Hambleton, a rant about flossers, a certain group of flossers, and you know who you are. No one's ranted about flossers. I'm pissed at all the motherfuckers who are way into good dental hygiene but don't give a shit about the earth. Who the fuck are you? You care enough to floss your teeth after every meal on the go, but you leave the goddamn plastic flosser lying on the ground. Huh? Every fucking time I go to any store, there are multiple little plastic flossers lying about in the parking lot. Every time I go for a walk, and I live in the goddamn most beautiful place with woods and mountains and shit. Shit. There's a fucking flosser on the ground. It's the kind of thing my big dumb dog could not resist. Your fucking flosser with those tempting little nasty bits from out of your gross mouth. So I'd have to scan the ground for stuff and yank 100 pounds of excited dog away from it before he ate one of your fucking flossers and perforated his dog guts. He got old and died anyway, but I still scan the ground out of habit. And you flossing motherfuckers are out there flossing away, keeping those teeth and gums healthy, and then tossing your flossers on the ground. How fucked up is that? You'll have a great fucking smile in a shit planet because that's convenient for you. As I write this, I'm wondering if there's some alternate use for flossers that I'm unaware of. Perhaps they are an aid to a particular form of drug use, or mice use them in sword fights or something. I don't know. It's just hard to imagine the person who cares about their dental hygiene doesn't care about throwing away those things on the ground. Anyway, fuck you, flosser, tosser, motherfuckers. It's really something, Sandra. I've never seen a flosser on the ground. Maybe we don't floss here in New York. Maybe they only floss in beautiful places. They want their mouth to reflect their environment. It's unbelievable that you see that many flossers. Wow. Thank you. Wow. that was really something. From Tondaleo Lipschitz. It's not our father's Oldsmobile. I'm afraid it never was the country we grew up being proud of. We were fed bullshit by the shovelful, and not knowing better, we thought it was all so delicious. And to even think to question its credibility was inconceivable. Those that continue the MAGA rhetoric fail to grasp that they've had rainbows blown up their collective asses from the time they first got kicked out of England and the rest of Europe. Victims of the cruel aristocrats came here to establish their own wannabe aristocracy. It worked so well for so long, and now those uppity, non white immigrants and liberals want an even playing field. To consider for a moment that they might possibly be wrong about any of it sets a precedent that, God forbid, white Americans are not God's chosen. Manifest destiny, a mere contrivance to justify expansion and genocide. And race mattered then just as much as it does still. It's impossible for many minds to comprehend when their justification for continuing to believe that the world is flat is continually reinforced. God bless America ad nauseum. Wow. Whew. It's a tough summer. It's a truly tough summer. Thank you, Tondaleo. I think I pronounced that right, but it was a guess. Alexis McWilliams had something to share, and I'm glad she did. Dear Lewis, every time you turn the fuck around, there is some new fucking plague. Now it's monkeypox. That's right, you read that right. Motherfucking monkeypox. What in ever-loving fuck, people? Can't we go a year, even just 6 months, without some new thing to worry about? Hell, we've seen Ebola, Zika, West Nile, COVID, a resurgence in measles and mumps, and don't get me started on those anti-vax fucks. Vaccinate your crotch goblins, okay, people? Now, monkeypox, apparently it's related to smallpox. Fuck, how the hell did people get this? Oh, they traveled to a foreign country, somewhere in Africa, and either they were bit, scratched, or they fucking ate an infected animal. Holy fucking shit. Who would have thought in the 21st century we would have to explain basic fucking hygiene to people? Huh? Don't eat infected animals. Don't eat monkeys. A phrase people really shouldn't have to be told. Not like there isn't enough to worry about in a world in which Putin is trying to turn back time and make Russia great again, to still dealing with COVID, a failing economy, a shitty housing market, murder hornets, school shootings, student loan debt, formula shortages, a failing mental health and medical health care system. In short, can some of those double-talking, no-good old fat fucks in Congress remove their heads from each other's sphincters long enough to make some actual, real fucking changes for the betterment of the country? At least do something worthwhile, then go back to sucking each other off or whatever the fuck it is you do in D.C. that we're fucking paying you to do. We, the people, are anxiety-ridden and have no fucks left to give. Sincerely, truly sincerely, Alexis. Thank you. Here's a rant from Donald Thompson. Thanks, Donald. Lewis, what the fuck is wrong with America? I'm not talking about those high fucking falutin Republicans or the give me everything fucking Democrats. I'm talking about the American people, Lewis. Okay? What the fuck has happened to us in the last 50 years? That's fucking insane. We put these fuckers in office by voting. Doesn't anyone even think about why they're putting a fucking X in a box? Oh, I get it. We're just too busy. We have kids that need to be watched constantly. We don't have time to check and see which fucking senator has placed $5 million on NVIDIA and stands to make $100 million off the American people. Where the fuck have we gone wrong, Lewis? Oh, God damn it. It's not that fucking hard to think for yourself and do a little research. You can't depend on the goddamn TV news anymore. Even the news on YouTube is falling in line with the rest of those pricks. You can't depend on anything anymore, huh? Every fucking morning I wake up, watch the fucking news, and I want to go outside and kick the first person I see in the ass, right after I asked them if they did any research before they voted. We're in the toilet, Lewis. The fucking American people are in the toilet, and it's not their goddamn fault. This just burns my ass. I'm 66 years old, and never, fucking never, have I wanted to kick a fellow American in the ass as much as I do now. What the fuck is wrong with you people? I swear we need to get those millionaires out of office and Joe Sixpack go at it. Huh? God damn it, at least it would be a Joe who understood what it's like to miss an electricity payment. For fuck's sake, this country, and mark my words, Lewis, this country will be flushed down the toilet within 3 months, and it's a damn shame it has come to this. It's all our fucking fault because we're not paying attention. We just blindly go in a room, pull a fucking curtain, and make asses out of ourselves. And now the whole fucking world knows about it. God forbid China attacks Taiwan. I mean, all their destroyers are in position. Their fucking planes are swooping down, waving at all the people with nasty little smiles. And we're not doing a goddamn thing about it. I just hope that the people of this country smarten up and start thinking again. But Lewis, you try and have a nice day. I'm going to go out and get a new pair of OD steel-toed boots. All right. Oh, Donald, going out to kick some ass. But you said it's not their fault. It is amazing. We get no information. I don't even know where you're going to research. Then you got it. We're in two different reality systems, Donald. You know that. I think you know that. It's pretty clear from what you're saying here. Or maybe you believe we're in no reality system at all. Maybe that's what you're saying, which is another way to look at this. Because when you have one group of people thinking one thing, one group of people thinking another thing about what's real, you got no reality. Thanks, Donald. Thanks to all of you for listening to my Rantcast. If you have a rant you want to get off your chest, send it in to me at lewisblack.com/live. You can think of it as therapy, or whatever you want to think of it as. Just let it rip. And I want to thank the true stars of our show, the ranters, and the splendid rants they gave us. Lewis Black's Rantcast was created and hosted by me, Lewis Black. It is produced by James Salkind. Our theme song by Chris Lane. Executive producer, Ben Brewer. Executive producers, Matt Kleinschmidt and Robert Kelly for the Laugh Button Podcast. And most of all, thank you, all of you who ranted so well on this show.